Okay. Personal enjoyment. This is another one of those experiences, the living experiences that we talked about a moment ago. Respecting the person's ability to engage in all of these different activities, if they can still, or at least providing them with the opportunity to engage in these, is important for them. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll move over some of these reasonably quickly. Just think about the physical environments that people live in. You know, how much do their physical environments reflect their personal life, their personality? This morning you spoke really well about how the bedrooms become a very personal space for the person with dementia, and often they are both the living space they have and their bedroom. So it's a bed sit in the traditional sense, a bed sitting room. So just think about that. How do the rooms that you have people living in, how do they reflect their personality or their individual life? Some of them are very personalised, and some of them could be a lot better personalised. Family and community, is there space within your facility for people to gather, to have private space? Is there a private dining room where they can have a lunch or a meal with their relatives on their own? And staff-wise, is there good space for staff to meet, to talk among themselves, to store their things so that they can be safe and that the staff can relax away from the work environment? So all of that's very important. Is there space for staff to document? Sometimes the nurses' station, the traditional nurses' station, such as you have in this example here, becomes a refuge for staff to hide. Now, if that's the case, then we need to rethink about how the staff are using that space. It's supposed to be a space for staff to do the more formal administrative and documentation side of things, not a place to have refuge from the residents. If they're wanting refuge from the residents, then they need to wait till morning tea or afternoon tea or lunchtime to do that. Does that make sense? So we need to be clear and careful with staff about them hiding or using the nurses' station as a refuge away from residents. So here are some of the characteristics of our person-centred carers that might be able to utilise these physical environments. An inner quietness with freedom from personal preoccupation. They're empathic. They're people who have ease in making social contact, and they have an ability to sustain interaction without strain. There's flexibility. There's stability. There's resilience, able to cope with pressure. A lot of aged care work is very pressured work. The shifts are very pressured times. So they need to be staff who can cope with that pressure. And they need to have lowered psychological defences. In other words, not be defensive about hearing information back about themselves. Because if they're defensive, then you won't be able to give them much good feedback. So they won't want to hear it. Okay, we'll move over that. End of life.